Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om.
Hey everyone, so happy you can join us for the Love Everyone podcast.
With your hosts, Govind Das and Rama Chandra Das.
A conversation of love, devotion, and walking the path of Bhakti Yoga.
Welcome, 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 dear friends. The Love Everyone podcast, episode 22. I'm your host, Govind Das. What's up, brother?
And I'm your host, Rama Chandra Das. It's so great to be here. And man, I can't wait to dive into some Bhakti conversation. That's what it was. Remember last episode, I couldn't figure out the right word, and then I was going to use it, and then I couldn't remember it again. So how's that? It's Bhakti conversation.
No, maybe we should tell the audience what we were just doing before, why we're in maybe a giddy mood.
We were just having some fun with the Zoom avatars. We were putting on pirates patches and lipstick and
I had big fat eyebrows on.
yeah, we were laughing. We were thinking
I
we
have
should have
tears in my
recorded
eyes right now.
We should have
My eyes are
recorded it.
so
We should have
moist.
recorded it. I feel like our audience would have enjoyed it.
So what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
No, man, just doing great, doing great. It was so amazing hanging out with you in Taos, brother.
Oh God, Taos was so wonderful.
Oh,
We
what a
had such a
blessing.
great time. And guess what, everybody? We're going to do it again next year. So plan ahead next Thanksgiving in Taos. Come join us.
There's nothing better. That was literally the best Thanksgiving ever. Wouldn't you agree?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. The best Thanksgiving of my life.
Yeah, and we're talking now between the two of us, without getting too many details. That's over 100.
Over 108.
Over 108. Oh my God. Over 108 Thanksgivings between the two of us. And that was, in my opinion as well. Nothing, no Thanksgiving could even compete with that.
I agree. And just like Thanksgiving week, yes, as the retreat, but Thanksgiving Day, eating prasad at the ashram, singing chalisas and kirtan in the temple,
Hmm.
right in front of that beautiful murti with those eyes.
Wasn't that amazing? I mean, I didn't take my eyes off Hanuman that whole kirtan. I was riveted. I love that.
I know. It's really amazing because the Hanuman most temples you can't get so close to the murti. They keep
Uh,
like at least 4 feet of distance or so. And here you can just walk right up to the murti. And I found the closer I got and looked in his eyes, the more I felt him just looking right into my soul. It was very special.
it is really special. I've had dreams about that Murti since then. I mean, I've seen pictures of it, for so long. In fact, I mean, like, look, it's right there. I've got my Flow of Grace book, and it's kind of right here in my little Hanuman Chalisa bookcase that I keep myself for our Chalisa sadhana. So I see it basically every morning, but I had never seen it in person, and it just blew my mind.
Yeah. And it's isn't it amazing being a murti lover? Like you go to India and you see so many Hanuman murtis and you look at all friends have statues of murtis and you start to see the detail and the different poses he's in and they're all so beautiful and then the quality of the face, sometimes the face is a little stronger, other times the face is more peaceful, and then you see this and it's like a murti like I've never seen in my life.
Hmm. It's alive.
Yeah.
It has been in I don't know if that's how it came or if it's over all the years of prayer and but there's something, it's so alive. I mean, it's a piece of marble, right, at the end of the day. But it is the form. It is the Mangala Murati. It is the form of auspiciousness. You can just feel it. You can just feel it. Yeah.
And so unique. I mean, I've never seen you see Hanuman like in yours behind you kneeling, or mine carrying the mountain, and so many other different murtis, but never flying across the ocean with the ring in his hand.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean they like to say that it's the only flying Hanuman Murti in the world. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that that's true, but why not? Why
Why
not?
not?
This
Maybe the
is
biggest.
this is um my new ever since I've come back from India, I have this new mantra and it's why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
It's one of my, Anil, who owns the Rustic Road.
Why not? Why not?
Everything, it doesn't matter what you ask him, even if you said, "Hey, will you drive me to, the southern tip of India?" He probably would say, "Why not?" And
Why not?
he might
Why
call you the
not?
next day and say, "I talked to my wife and she told me why not." But his initial reaction is, "Why not?" And it's just like, it reminds me of like I used to be when I was an actor. We used to do improv classes, and things like that. We used to do like improv comedy and whatnot. And there's a rule that you never deny what the other person says. So when the guy walks in and says, "Hi, I'm your doctor. I'm here to give you an exam," then you say, "Oh, okay." You stick out your tongue or
Yeah.
whatever. You don't say, "No, you're not a doctor. I'm a doctor." You never say no. And I feel like on some levels, that's kind of like what it's like in India. They never want to say no.
Versus like Germany.
Yeah, their
Everybody
first
says no to everything
the
you
first answer is no, and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, what you asked me wasn't that big a deal." "Oh, sure, why not?" You know, yeah, yeah. But in India, the problem is when like they want to say yes so bad that you say, "Do you know the directions to such and such a place?" And they go, "Oh, of course, it's down there."
and they send you on the other side of town.
Yeah, but anyway, but then because it's India, something magical happens on the other side of town, and
Right. You know you're
you're
exactly where you're supposed to be.
you're exactly where you're supposed to be. But
Why not?
why
Why
not?
not?
That's
Why not?
my new mantra. Just
Yeah, I just hear your wife saying, "Honey, will you buy me a new coat?" Well, why not?
no, I just take the knot off the end. Just get like
You got to extend it to everything, though. Why not?
oh
Why
no. Well,
not?
listen, it's a practice, bro. It's a baby step, slowly, slowly but inevitably.
You ever eat at Anil's place?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's funny. There's hardly anybody in there, and
Yeah.
but the food's fantastic, especially the Indian food. Like that's what's good, because they like all those Indian restaurants in Rishikesh and all over. They always have like Israeli food, and they always have some,
Pizza.
Italian food and pizza.
Yeah.
They do actually have at night. They have a wood burning pizza oven outside. It's actually pretty good, but. But the Indian food is really nice. We've actually done like a buffet lunch for our group one time
Hmm.
there, and yeah, it's solid. It's
Rustic Road.
the rustic road. Yeah,
Rustic Road.
Anil is like he's like a little sadhu living in this restaurant. Like it's like his cave. I think of it as like his cave because there's something about Anil that he's always so peaceful,
Mm.
you know, and like he's never agitated. I've never seen him anytime agitated, Uh, I've actually started working out on, I have a sutras. They're called Anil Sutras because he just starts dropping these bombs, all the time. And why not? Like, and then second one is more enjoying.
More enjoying.
More enjoying. And then the
More
third one,
enjoying.
the third one is be positive no matter what.
Yeah. Well, he is that.
He is
Every
that.
time you see him, he's so positive.
And he's
But
just
that then you start to challenge that toxic happiness that we talked about. What was that months ago on this? Remember that? Wasn't there something about that? Toxic positivity.
yeah. Well,
Oh,
toxic positivity is like I think when we're pretending to be positive because we think it'll make us look good.
so you think he just lives that.
I
He
think my take, and I've spent a lot of time with him, is that he just lives that, and he's so calm, and it's like, like when I went to go see Ramesh, your Baba down
yeah.
at the Hanuman Chalisa, he made me chai, and we sat and had chai together, and but then there's something about these like really peaceful people. And the reason why I'm comparing him and Anil, because I feel like Anil's like this householder with this restaurant, but that really like his little restaurant is like his little kutir, his little cave, because he's basically just in there meditating all day, And but both Anil and Ramesh, you know, I can just sit with them. And I find that I don't have that normal urge to make conversation.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Isn't that it's so liberating to be with people like that, where
We could just
it's
sit.
okay. It's okay just to be in silence.
Yeah, we're just sitting here in the booth together, just looking out the window. And same thing happened with Ramesh. We came down, we tried to make conversation at first, but he speaks no English and I speak really no Hindi, and we just ended up sitting there for about a half an hour, just in silence, just listening to the birds, looking out at the river, and it's just really special. And anyway,
It's a beautiful way to share space with somebody.
yeah, it really is. Why not?
What do you say we dive in?
Yeah, let's do it, brother.
Let's
I
make
think.
some conversation.
All right, so we are gonna jump into
Think
our.
anybody would listen to our podcast if we just sat in silence together?
Just come be with us.
Just come be with
Listen
us.
to us breathe. Probably not. No,
And
probably
guess
not.
what? People would probably get more out of it, actually.
Well, that's for sure, because what it would do is ensure that they sit still for an hour, it's an hour a day or whatever. But
Yeah, let's do
let's
it.
let's
Let's
keep the
dive in.
conversation flowing. So you're gonna start us off with some opening prayers.
Yeah, let's do it, everybody. We always love to start this process just by invoking our gurus and our teachers so we can open up this portal for the Most High to speak through us and bless this conversation of bhakti, devotion. So let's chant a few shlokas from the Guru Stotram. Om Akandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tapadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Salutations to the Guru who revealed to me the supreme truth, which is unfragmented, infinite, timeless divinity, and which pervades the entire universe.
Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Salutations to the Guru who opened my eyes, which had been blinded by the darkness of ignorance, by applying the divine ointment of self knowledge.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Guru is the creator, sustainer, and the destroyer. Guru is directly the supreme spirit, both manifest reality and the absolute. My reverential salutations to the glorious Guru who resides in the hearts of all beings as the true self.
Hari Om. Bolo Shri Satgurudev Baba Neem Karoli Santa Maharaj Ki.
Yay. All right. So we
Oh.
are going to open up the conversation with a discussion about one of the chopais from the Hanuman Chalisa. Those of you that have been following along, you know this is our rhythm so far. And we have made our way almost to halfway through the Hanuman Chalisa. Can you believe it? We're on
Mhm.
Chopai. The lines are called Chopais. We're on Chopai number 19. And it translates as when the Lord, with the Lord's ring in your mouth, it is no surprise you leapt over the ocean. And the Avadhi is Prabhu Mudrika Meli Mukamahin Jaladi Langi Gaye Acharaja Nahin. And once again, that translates as with the Lord's ring in your mouth, it is no surprise you leapt over the ocean. Jai Hanuman.
Mm.
All right, brother, why don't you start us off and share a little bit about, you know, any thoughts about this line?
Yeah, we speak about from line 9 up until this line is about the Leelas of Lord Hanuman. And this is really the last of the Leelas that Tulsidas speaks about in Ramayana, in the Chalisa. And this is a very special line because all of the monkeys were gathered by Sugriva, and some sent north, some sent west, some sent east, some sent south. But before the southern troop was sent, Lord Ram calls Hanuman over and he says, take this ring. When you find Sita, give this ring to her as a token of my love. So he gave Hanuman his ring, Lord Ram's ring, with the initials, with the name Ram on it. And so the southern band goes to the through guidance from in a few different ways. They find their way to the southern coast of India, and just really shortening the story. Uh, they looked across the ocean, and it was a huge, huge distance. And a couple monkeys were saying, "Oh, I can jump a quarter of that distance." Another monkey said, "Oh, I could jump halfway across." Even I think it was Jumbavan that said, "I could jump there, but I couldn't jump back."
Hmm.
And then Jambavan saw Hanuman sitting off by himself with tears welled up in his eyes. And Jambavan went over to Hanuman, "What's wrong with you?" And Hanuman was so upset because he wasn't going to be able to fulfill Lord Ram's mission. Lord Ram had given him this ring. And Jambavan says, "Hanuman, don't you remember who you are?" This is a very powerful moment in all
Hmm.
of Ramayana. Don't you remember who you are? You're a Hanuman. You're the son of the wind. You're Shiva's incarnation. All of the gods have bestowed boons and gifts and siddhis upon you. You can do anything, Hanuman. You're Hanuman. You can do anything. And in that moment, Hanuman remembered his superpowers, and a thrill started charging through his body. And he started growing immediately in size. And all of the monkeys are watching him grow and chanting, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman. And he gets to the top of the highest mountain peak near the beach, and he drops down into a squat and he chants Ram, 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 Ram. And whoosh, he leaps over the ocean to Lanka to ultimately find Sita. And this significance I find is that with the ring, Lord's ring in your mouth, that Lord Ram transferred his Shakti, he transferred his power to Hanuman through this ring.
Hmm.
So it was no longer Hanuman's energy, but it was Ram's energy that was moving him. And he made this great leap of faith.
Hmm.
So I think this is a good place to start. Um, Wow. Let's get it going. What any thoughts,
Oh my,
reflections?
there's so many things that in this line. There's so many prescriptions, there's so many lessons. I love it. I think that ring in the mouth thing is I love what you said about transferring the Shakti, but I also the way I've always felt is that it also is really, really referring to taking the name.
Mm,
Right? So, that ring, it has the name Ram on it. And he describes it, Tulsidas describes it as with that ring in your mouth. So, does he mean the ring? Is that where Hanuman really stored it for his whole adventure? Does he have a pocket? I don't know. But I think Tulsidas is really pointing to, on one level, because I think Tulsidas as a saint and as a poet, is talking to us on many, many levels. But on one level, he's saying, take the name Ram. And of course, we know the great saying that Neem Karoli Baba always used to say, Ram Nam Karane Se Sab Pura Ho Jata Hai. By taking the name of Ram, everything is possible. Anything can be accomplished. So he says it's no wonder that he jumped over the ocean because he was chanting the name Ram. But then, the other elements, I love that this moment with Jambavan is one of my favorite moments of the whole story because the metaphor is so beautiful and the lesson for us is we're so forgetful, right? And Hanuman was cursed to forget his superpowers until one day somebody would remind him. So this is that moment, and this is like such a metaphor for us to just help us remember how forgetful we are, like to point out, like to shine a light on how forgetful we are. I think about too, like the Bhagavad Gita, and not only forgetful, we're so stupid. Like our heads, they're so thick, even when we open ourselves up and we sit down to do our practice. And in this case, I was mentioning the Bhagavad Gita, to read the Bhagavad Gita. Well, Krishna is talking to Arjuna, who's just a mere mortal. And he repeats himself over and over and over and over because he tells stuff, really important stuff to Arjuna. And then, he probably can tell Arjuna's already forgotten about it 10 minutes later. So he mentions it again. And so this idea of remembering is such a pillar of bhakti. And here in this episode that we're describing is this main moment in the entire Ramayana of the poet Valmiki or Tulsidas, you know, um, whoever's version, this part always ends up in there because it's so critical to our development that not only what I love about Jambavan is that not only do we have to remember like Hanuman, but we also get the instructions to like be Jambavan. Lift
mm.
people up, remind people when you see someone there crying with their head in their hands, forgetting their superpowers, go over and say something. And then the last thing, and then I'm going to throw it back at you and see what you've got in response to all of this, but is that um, this leap over the ocean, it, it, it's not just he leaps over the ocean. There's all these obstacles on the way that he has to overcome. And the first isn't even an obstacle. The first is like the mountain that lifts out of the water, and this is the only mountain in the world left with wings because Indra, the king of the gods, at one point, all the mountains, I guess mountains moving around on their own would probably cause a lot of confusion, just once you figure out how to get over the mountain pass, and all of a sudden the mountains all shift and everything. So Indra went with his Vajra, his weapon, his thunderbolt, and he clipped all their wings. But this one mountain managed to hide underneath the ocean. And so this mountain used its wings and flew up in the air. And it said, "Hey, Hanuman, I'm here to help. You want to take a rest?" And what I love about this is that Hanuman says no, because one of the things that happens when you take Ram's name or when you're infused with Ram's Shakti is you have all the strength you need, right? You have all the power you need. He doesn't need a rest. But then he comes upon these two more obstacles, which are actually obstacles really trying to stop him, and he overcomes them easily. Um, and and the next line that we're going to talk about in our next episode really clarifies this as well. But with the name and with Ram Shakti and with that single pointedness of serving the divine, um, A, we have all the strength we need, and B, we know how to overcome obstacles. I mean, and this is just the beginning. There's so much in this line, brother. What else do you see in here?
Mm.
I'm sure you're seeing more because my God.
Oh, well, I mean, the thing that always pops out is that this is known as the leap of faith line.
Mm.
And Hanuman takes this leap of faith. And I think, as we've spoken in our Hanuman Chalisa sadhanas through the years, and I don't know who was the first person to say this, but it is a teaching that will last a lifetime for me. That the greatest leap of faith that we will ever have to take in our life is 18 inches. And, people, if you're hearing this for the first time, you probably say, well, what do you mean 18 inches? Well, it's about 18 inches from your head to your heart. And that's the greatest leap of faith that we'll ever have to take, from fear to love,
Yeah.
from doubt to trust and faith. And this is the work of a bhakti yogi, because, it's called the path of the heart. We seek to be guided by our hearts, live from the heart, love from the heart. And when we're in our heads, we can't love everyone. When we're in our hearts, we can actually make a real attempt at loving people.
Mm.
So this line always brings that leap of faith from the head to the heart into the forefront of my consciousness. And I think it's something, a great daily practice just to remember.
Mm.
And we see Hanuman making this leap, and it reminds us, because I think we always want to bring this on to in the metaphorical levels, like, what does this mean for us in our life? Well, I think you really touched on a few things major, that, when we chant Ram's name, when we serve and do what we do in our life to live in Rama Kaja, to serve and do the Lord's work, we find an incredible, incredible strength. As it said, the impossible becomes possible. What can't be done can be done. And what's already been done can be undone. I heard Jayutal say this 25 years ago. I've never forgotten it. The
Mm.
impossible becomes possible. What can't be done can be done. And what's already been done can be undone. And these three words have been almost like, a, a pole star guiding light in my whole spiritual practice. And I don't know why, but I have faith in these words, that when
I
I
know.
chant the Chalisa and do Ram Japa, that yes, the impossible will become possible. What can't be done can be done. What's already done can be undone.
Mm.
Now, that last one is really interesting.
Yeah, I was going to ask
What's
you about
already
that.
been done can be undone.
Uh,
What do you think about that? What does that mean
I-
for you?
well, I mean, this one takes a huge leap of faith, right? I mean, like, the materialist in me just hates this idea, Uh, but but the spiritual side of me loves it, because uh, because Neem Karoli Baba said that chanting the Hanuman Chalisa, you can change your fate, can change your destiny. And so, when we think about what has already been done, right? This is our past karma. So all karma has to have, it's got to play out. So is he saying when he says what has been done can be undone? Does that mean that we can somehow erase that past karma so that past karma doesn't have to play out? What do you think of that?
I see that. Yes, I do. But
Yeah.
I kind of see it in simple terms, you know, like you're holding a grudge
Uh,
towards someone,
uh,
or you have deep resentment to your wife for some reason, and you chant the Chalisa, you repeat Ram's name, and it just unwinds that stuff, that tight grip. It loosens up and it's no longer present. That was done, that tight grip, that resentment, and this just undid it. And
okay, but
and
what
yeah,
about, like, let's say you're a real jerk to somebody.
yeah,
Can it undo that?
the karma of that, you
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I think maybe. That's what I was getting at with the karma, is that maybe somehow by through your practice, that person, they're on their own to whether they forgive you or not, that's their deal. But maybe somehow that through your practice you won't have to pay the karmic debt for that. I mean, this one's a real
Yeah, I think it can do that. I
yeah.
think it can erase that stuff. And for me, where I really have found this, the truth, as 22 and I've shared about it, I I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, a form of irritable bowel disease, and the doctor said, you're going to have to take this for the rest of your life, and you will always have an autoimmune disease.
Hmm.
And I really believe this bhakti undid it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can certainly
It's
say that for
undone.
stuff, like within internally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I was, because I know that my practice, Chalisa, Ram Japa, etc., singing kirtan, I know that it is dramatically changed. Even, it has erased thoughts that I've had about myself. They're gone. In fact, I can't even remember them. I can remember that I was having these negative thoughts about myself, but I can't even put words to them anymore. They're being erased, but but when I hear that, my mind goes, okay, the internal stuff that makes 100% sense. Can I, the external stuff, like when I use that example about being a jerk to somebody, can I undo that? Yeah, that's it. But I mean,
That's interesting. I was just reflecting on that. If you really hurt somebody,
yeah.
does that get erased? Does that person all of a sudden, you know what? It's okay. Like, I don't know, man. That's tricky right there.
It is interesting though, because like I did one year when I was in India, right? I was with a teacher and we did a whole bunch of ancestral healing mantra chanting and stuff over the fire puja every day. And it was specifically ancestral healing. It was like a Pitra Bio or something like this mantra. Do you know this mantra?
No,
Om
I don't know that.
Pitra Bio means like my darling father, basically, or something. Namaha or something. So Pitra is like a word that it relates to the father and our ancestors. But I did this for a while, and I was just doing the practice, and my relationship with my dad completely shifted.
Hmm.
And and I know it was like I was relating to him differently, but then that changed the way he related to me, you know? So I think that there's some layers of this, some esoteric, subtle layers of this that we'll never really be able to understand. And
No.
I think it comes back to what you were saying is that you have faith that what Jai said is true, and it's kind of like what I've been really practicing lately is this is very specifically from the leap to the head to the heart, right? It's like, and it's even back to my Anil Sutra, why not? Right? The heart says why not. The brain has a million reasons why not, right? The heart's always like, let's try, you know? And I was just thinking about uh like somebody asked me recently though, they said like, do you believe in miracles? And I said, yeah, I do. And it kind of struck me because I bet 25 years ago I would have said absolutely not, you know? And and then I was like, oh, well, so do I have like proof of miracles, or or I was telling somebody a story that I consider a miracle story of my own, and then they were kind of poking holes in the story and everything, and I was like, hey, we can mentally poke holes in any story all the time, but you either believe in miracles or you don't. And ultimately at the end of the day, like, I just find it much more attractive, much more useful for my well-being. I find it much more liberating and enlivening to believe in miracles than to not believe in miracles. So at a certain point, we have to make these these leaps of faith and be like, you know what? I'm jumping over in the miracle camp, you know? And I could say that about Hanuman. I'm in the Hanuman camp. When I read these things that Tulsi Das tells me about in the Chalisa, you know, the mental chatter could poke holes in them all day. But guess what? I believe every single one of them. When he tells me that Hanuman can remove my afflictions, I'm like, bring it on, you know?
I know this is a totally different, way off, but what do you think? We've never have talked about this. Do you believe in UFOs?
I mean, well, so UFOs, I definitely believe in UFOs, meaning I believe that there are unidentified flying objects. Do I believe that there are aliens in them? I mean, like I've seen things that I looked up in the sky and I'm like, I can't identify that, and it's flying through the sky. So that's that. Now I was on mushrooms, just but full disclosure, but there was five of us, we all saw it, so um uh and we're not all five of us were on mushrooms either, so there was two sobers and three mushroomers.
They were the scribes for you
we,
guys.
no, I wish they had been, but they all we all saw it. But I don't know. I mean, I believe there's got to be like there's got to be other life in the universe. I can't believe there's not more life in the universe. What do you think? Do you believe in
Well, I'm
UFO?
I'm just brought this up because it's such a big conversation now, and you know, and everywhere you see on Instagram, there's people are showing. I mean, are they coming closer now? Is that what it is, or do we just have more cameras that where we can see this stuff where we didn't have, 20 years ago, these good phones that had great cameras, and anytime you see something in the sky, you can capture it. It just seems like it's such a big conversation
Mm.
right now.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't doubt it, but I have somewhere along the line have remember having like a dream, or I don't know if it was a dream or being when I was a kid being visited. I don't know. It's very vague, but it feels so close to me that I had an encounter with it as a young child. but I don't know, I think that it's just a really interesting conversation that seems to be very out in the open now these days. And there's all these UFO files with the government that I'm hearing that they know what's going on, but they're not letting people in on it. Who knows, man? What a tangent. I don't know why I just wanted
No
to bring that
kidding.
up.
Well, I was talking about believing in miracles and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
believing in, and you were talking about just like when you heard it from Jai, you just believed it, And I think I think when you hear it from somebody like Jai, who heard it directly from Maharaji, you know, it's hard not to give it some credence.
But
Like
I think that's what spiritualists have faith,
yeah.
in things that ordinarily we can't understand through our senses, through our five senses.
Yeah.
And especially devotees, which of, in bhakti, faith is as important as anything. So yeah, look, we're talking to two of us that have drank the Kool-Aid. So,
Yeah, no
it's
kidding.
like, but
Oh
that's
man.
cool.
Well, so you know what I liked what you were saying though, something I wanted to get back to is you said, this daily reminder, you know, of Hanuman taking this leap of faith, because this leap that you were describing, this 18-inch leap from the head to the heart, um, it's as much as we keep leaping to the heart, there's this magnetism of the mind, right? And of Maya, I suppose we could say, or just the mind is just constantly pulling you back. And so that it is this daily practice of like, am I going to take this leap of faith again today? I feel like
Mm.
it's not just like we leap across the ocean and there we are and yay, we made it, and we're
And you
enlightened.
always will see things from a spiritual perspective from that point on. No, that's not the way it is.
It's not the way it is at all. So that's why hearing these stories and revisiting this and like doing this Hanuman Chalisa sadhana that we do, or like every day, we come and we look at these lines and we think about these lessons and you know because I mean I literally we do this Chalisa call in the morning, and I mean it ends at 8:45 and half the time I've forgotten by 9 a.m.
The moment we're done.
I'm like right back. Yeah, right. I close the thing and then I open my emails and I'm like, ah, and it's all over again. And it starts over again. So, it's such a process, Which is funny because you said the word process early this morning when we were, I think, on the call, and I remember one of the funniest things you ever said to me when we first met, or well, not when we first met, but when we were first reconnecting, was you said, "So, are you a processor?"
Are you a process? Why was that funny?
I don't
Why was
know
that?
because everybody's always processing something, like
Yeah.
it's such a that word is such a like it's bandied around in like the spiritual circles.
Let's process
Oh
this.
yeah, well let's process this. Or like, hey, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? And be like, well, I haven't really had time to process it yet. So, you know. And it's like, and I'm like, well, hey, how about you give me your pre-processed thoughts about it, And
And
then,
then we'll revisit for your post-process
and then,
thought.
well, yeah, and then you can like dwell on it for a few weeks, and then it could be the ultra processed.
I'm thinking about, there's one more thing in relation to this, what you were just talking about, this 18 inches. And it's that Ramakrishna quote, which is very famous. He said, "The mind is a terrible master. but a wonderful servant. And I think that's what that leap of faith from the head to heart is all about is don't lead from the mind, but lead from the heart. Use the mind. As mind is a great tool. Mind is a great instrument,
Mhm.
but your heart, if we could put it as from a computer metaphor, you know how everybody puts things in computer metaphors now. The heart is the what would you call it? Like the CPU or something like that. I don't even know. I'm not a
I
great
have no idea where you're going with this.
well, like the applications and the CPU
Yeah,
and the
okay.
hardware and the software thing, all this stuff.
Here, I got it. I got a much more user-friendly one. I like to think of it as like we're in a car, right? And the heart is always supposed to be driving,
Yeah.
and the mind is in the back seat because sometimes we might need it, especially with some tricky navigation, or some bumps in the road. We might need the input from the mind, but it's only when the heart says, "Hey, I need your assistance." And the
But
but
unfortunately, there's the backseat driver.
Well, that's it. I was just That's it. The mind wants to be the great backseat driver. He's a great. I think that was Ramakrishna said that as well. But
Just yapping in the back
just
seat.
yeah, you're going the wrong way, man.
You suck. Slow down.
Why
Speed
are we
up.
going speed up, slow down? Why are we going this way? Why are we going that way?
You made a wrong turn, you idiot.
And the heart's just like, relax, man. We're gonna get there when we get there,
Enjoy the ride, man.
Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the process,
Enjoy
man.
the process.
I'm not a
Man,
You a processor? I'm not a pro.
yeah, I'm not a processor. You a processor? Process? I don't process. Uh,
Let's
not a
process
not a
this.
journey, man. Process. Process. The greatest process. 18 inches from the, no, it doesn't quite work. Oh, that's funny. Well, wow, I feel like we just took a hit.
We just took a hit. We just
Took
took
a
a hit, but
hit
we're
and
going to
we
take
had
another hit.
gonna take another hit.
We
Oh,
need
it's a
another
double
hit.
dose.
It's been a while,
Double
dude.
dose day. It has been. It has been a while.
We need a hit.
Well,
I remember the our friend Pepper on
retreat.
on the retreat. She was listening to our
Oh yeah.
our podcast, and she didn't really listen to the full podcast,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she heard us talking about taking an LSD hit, and
yeah.
her son overheard the podcast in the background, and she had said she was coming on retreat with us, and her son was like, Mom, are you really going to go on a retreat with these two guys? You guys, this is like a LSD
You're gonna
retreat.
have to
You're
take
sober.
drugs.
Why would you do something like So I think we realized every episode we must say what we're doing, that we're not dropping a tab of what is it? Oh God,
Lysergic acid.
lysergic acid,
Mhm. So
whatever the D part is. I
I don't know
can't
what the
remember.
D is. Well, anyway, we are not dropping acid, everybody. We
No,
are,
we are definitely not dropping acid.
when we say LSD and we say a dose of LSD or a hit of LSD, we mean a hit of love, service, and devotion, which is not cool, bro. Not cool. All right. For those of you listening on Spotify, Govind has just put some pink eyebrows on. And
I was waiting for that moment.
oh man. Well, at least thank you for at least letting me finish my sentence. I appreciate that. Anyway, those of you watching on YouTube, you got to see that, and that wasn't that pretty. Maybe you didn't see it. I don't know. It depends on how it recorded. You have to say something if you want the YouTubers to see your pretty
Oh, that's all right. We'll save it for next.
All
Let's
right,
do a whole
so
episode like that.
tell us what we how we drop LSD.
Well, we drop LSD every episode because we call it the OG LSD. And when we say LSD, it's these initials: L for love, S for service, and D for devotion. LSD, the old school LSD, love, service, and devotion. And you can't take too many hits. There's no come down. You can take as much as you want. And we love LSD in this podcast, everybody.
We laugh about it every time. We're 22 episodes in and we're still laughing about the same stupid joke. I hope they're still laughing.
It's like the two kids in junior high school, and every day they tell the same joke and they still laugh every
Oh my God. Oh my
Oh
God.
man. Well,
Well,
this one is from Mother Teresa.
right. So the hit is a quote.
The hit is a quote. The hit is a quote or a teaching from a great soul.
Yeah, and the reason why I said we already took one is because you came up with that Rama, you threw that
Oh, that's
Ramakrishna quote
right.
on. So I was
That's
like, oh
right.
my gosh, I got a double dose here today.
Double
But we
hit.
got a new one today. So tell us what we're gonna talk
All
about.
right. Mother Teresa, the fruit of love is service. The fruit of love is service. That's a real bhakti quote, huh?
Oh my gosh,
It's so simple.
so delicious too,
The
you know. Well,
five words. The
I've
fruit
been
of love is service.
so I've been thinking a lot of the natural progression, I think, of bhakti leads us to karma yoga. You know, it leads us to wanting to be of service. That uh, that we just naturally can't. The more we come into our heart, the more we want to share that love. And how do we share that love? We share that love by being of service. You know, and there's a million ways that we can serve our communities, our friends, our family. The world at large. But it naturally just like blossoms, I think, this desire. But what I love about this quote is she takes it a step further, which she's saying that being of service is the fruit. Meaning, like when we talk about the fruits of life, these are like the goals. Like she's literally saying like that it's like the goal, that it's like the goal of bhakti is to serve,
Yeah.
which I think is really, really fascinating, and which is why I've always said this about, yoga is that you can pick a like your direction. Like I want to be directed by my heart and by bhakti yoga, but you need them all. That you're going to naturally gravitate, if in bhakti you're going to naturally gravitate towards karma yoga, which is service. But you also need the gyan, the stuff that we talk about, the wisdom that we talk about, these teachings. And from a bhakti perspective, we really need the sub ek, it's all one perspective, or else we get caught up thinking that Hanuman's the only way that you can get enlightened or the only way that you can practice bhakti. And so we got to have that. And then we also we need all the physical yoga too, or at least the tending to our bodies and tending to our minds. And we need to strengthen our body, as you love to say, uh, uh, um, come on, say it, say it.
I was just letting you hang right there. Say it, goddammit.
Body stronger, serve longer. Body stronger, serve longer. My God, just say it next time.
Help me out,
So,
you
yeah,
jerk.
yeah. But I mean, so we really need, we need all of this stuff, you know? So I think we have to have like a holistic view of it. But back to this quote, I just love this idea that like, and I feel this when I really let myself do karma yoga, which really means selfless service, which means nishkama karma, which means doing it without expectations of the fruit. So that's what's really tricky is to be of service. You have to release that expectation of the fruit. But when you do, you get the fruit anyway. And it's so delicious. And it's the goal. I don't know. It's kind of so this quote to me is just like, it's getting me all excited. I'm feeling tingling already
Mm.
from taking this. What is it bringing up for you, brother?
Well, I really love what you're talking about there. The service, when you can sort of stay free from, oh man, I just did some amazing service.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like if you can somehow wedge that out and not grab onto that,
Mm.
it's so delicious. There's just an expansive feeling.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just an expansiveness.
It's bliss. It's bliss.
But the moment you're like, oh man, that was great. I just did some great
Yeah.
service. The moment it all closes down, it
Or,
just shuts down
or
in
the
the
moment
moment.
that you go, why is no one thanking me for that amazing service that I just
Hey, everybody, look at me.
did?
I just did
Are
great
you
service.
are you kidding everybody? Nobody saw that?
I think bhakti and service, they are inseparable. That's why it's
Yeah.
called devotional service.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this morning on in our Hanuman Chalisa sadhana. That's why so many bhakti yogis take a name with the word das
Mm.
at the end because it's inseparable,
Mhm.
taking on a name. I mean, do having a bhakti practice and engaging yourself in service. And I think it's from the highest realization. I don't think there's a higher realization that you are me and I am you, and
Mm.
yes, I'm going to honor these individual differences, but at the core, at the deepest level,
Mm.
we're one and the same. So if I serve you, I'm serving myself on some level because we're all a part of that same
Yeah.
collective field of energy. And I think that's where service naturally comes from, that realization.
Mm.
And and yeah,
The bring it makes me think of too, kind of is this other side of the same coin is that if anyone is suffering, then we're all suffering.
yeah.
This realization, leads us to have compassion. There's another half a tab on the end of that quote.
The
What
other
does it
half of
say?
the should we do it?
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's do it.
The other half a tab is which the fruit of love is service,
Yeah.
which is compassion in action,
Uh, right.
which is compassion. You feel for others.
Yeah.
And that's what moves you to act in the spirit of service. Because as you said, if anybody's suffering, you feel it because it is you.
Uh,
I got this feeling that service is just love extended outward,
Mm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
It's
that's a good hit.
it's in action. It's love. Service is love in action. She said compassion in action, but it's
Mm.
same thing.
Same thing.
It's love extended externally towards others.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally, anytime that you can be truly loving, you're being of service
Yeah,
on whatever level.
I
I think
agree.
we also, here's another thing I think is very important that we have to remember is that, there are so many levels and layers to service, like I think there's some of the greatest saints, are probably people who are caregivers who have one patient and they are there loving them and serving them and caring for them 24/7, you know, and without any, need for any fanfare or any Pulitzer prizes or any Nobel Peace Prizes or anything, just just serving in silence, like that we can do, like all of our service doesn't have to be this grand event with 1,000 people, fed or whatever. I think we can be of service, just like, even we were talking about Jambavan earlier. I think when we be Jambavan, who's the king of the bears that you mentioned, who reminded Hanuman of his superpower, if we see somebody suffering and we go over there and we lift them up and be Jambavan for them, that's service and that's love and that's compassion. I think we need to just take off the scorecard or something, because that scorecard is that ego that we were demonstrating earlier with, like, hey man, did you see how many thousands of people I fed everybody? I did that, man. I did
Now,
that.
here's an interesting question. Can service have money involved in it? Do you know what I mean? Like, can there be an exchange of money
Mm,
and it still be pure service?
yeah. I mean I mean that's the age old question, so like, meaning, even like, can we say that a kirtan that we charge for is service to the name?
Sure. Or somebody paying, a caretaker.
Mm.
They're getting paid for it.
Hmm.
Is that still pure service?
Well, so I think that boils down to it's something that maybe only God really knows,
Yeah.
is like, what's the intention in the heart? Because if that caretaker is purely, now here's the thing, if that caretaker is purely money driven, right? I guarantee you the care isn't going to be good. I mean, for somebody to, you know, uh, for somebody to even want to do that job, there has to be a certain level of intention, of purity of their intention of wanting to be of service. Because guess what? There are none of those caretakers that I was describing are making millions and millions of dollars and living in the house in the hills and driving their, Maserati around. So if they're getting, we have built this system of economy in the world, especially in the West, where, like, there has to be an exchange of money, because otherwise, how does that caregiver eat? Or, because you can't just go to the ashram and have some dinner there. I think it's a really interesting question, but I do think my answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
there can
I
be
believe that.
there
Yeah.
can be an exchange of money, and but it's up to the person doing the seva to really dig deep, to do their best to offer that service without expectations. Um, because, of course, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita tells us that it's not karma yoga. It's not really seva if we are operating under the expectation of reward.
Yeah. I
I
think
mean,
there's the attachment piece to it. If we can do it, even though there may be exchange of money, but just to affirm what you're saying, if we can do it with a pure heart and without attachment to that transaction of money coming until your employer doesn't pay you on time. you know, and then you throw your arms up.
yeah.
I
Well,
didn't get my check today.
I think I think that's the other thing though too is you know, there's some legitimacy on both sides of that, you know. Listen, I mean we can't we live in a system where we can't operate without money. I mean, we don't get to have we don't get to have a roof over our heads. We don't get to have food on a regular basis. We don't, we literally have to sacrifice all of that. And even a sadhu in India, which is a very different lifestyle, but a sadhu in India, can find support in terms of food and shelter and things like this, um, in a much easier than we can do here in the West. But
I
I
was,
think you still see sadhus begging on the corner, and I have some teachers who tell me that if the sadhu's on the corner begging for money, he's not a sadhu,
yeah.
you know. And so it gets pretty complicated. That's a pretty heavy question, bro.
But I think that, we start thinking about heavy things when we're on LSD. I think, though, I'm thinking of just the example of a nurse.
Yeah.
We've all had nurses that had such pure hearts and were
Yeah.
doing that were compassion in action, that love was being extended outward just through their presence and the way, they showed up with you. And then we've probably had nurses that we didn't feel like that through.
Yeah.
So I think it just comes down to the quality of heart and mind
I think
of
that's, yeah.
regardless if money is being, you know, back and forth, it doesn't matter. It's just the quality of your heart.
So I would just say one of those nurses that you're describing is offering service, is
Yeah,
is
I do
truly
believe
being of service, and the other one is just working for a paycheck,
that's it.
you know. And they're neither are wrong,
You
you
see it
know.
with waiters and waitresses at
Yeah,
restaurants.
sure. Neither are wrong necessarily, but one is going to lead, is going to help that person grow spiritually, and the other one is not.
Yeah,
The other one is merely going to accrue more karma that they're going to have to, that the Vedas tell us we're going to have to deal with in a, future lifetime or something like that.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think, but listen, but love is, I think what you said is true. And love and service are always connected.
yeah,
Truly, truly connected. There's no way to separate them. But I love this bit of the quote that it's like the service is the goal, you know? Like and what in what you described about that moment of when you are able to do, if you can do, and it's really hard, everybody. I think sometimes now that I'm having this conversation, I think karma yoga is maybe the hardest
mm,
of all the yogas because, the ego wants what it feels it deserves. And when we work hard at something, even spiritually, I've seen so many people get so disappointed with their spiritual practice because they're working so hard and they don't feel like they're getting any reward out of it. And it derails people constantly. And I think if you are trying to be of service, and I don't know, I mean, Mother Teresa, she's the perfect example because I mean, she was probably, I mean, she's nearly been killed, she's been kidnapped, she's been, I mean, like her life story is such a dramatic story, and she had to overcome so many things that um that it'd be really easy to, to bag out if nobody is appreciating what you're doing. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
nobody's saying thank you, if you're just constantly, imagine if you just like every day you just went out and just started doing nice things for people all day long, just giving money away, doing, and nobody ever said
Ever.
now, no one ever said thank you. I mean, that'd be hard, right?
Well, it's sort of how we work. We need that support. It's
Yeah.
not that we're looking for it, but we that's what takes us further along the path when we feel that kind of stuff. When someone says thank you or recognizes us. Not that we're doing it for the recognition, but when it comes, it helps us. It strengthens, I think, our dedication to what we're doing.
I mean, I remember that quote I've mentioned many times when, Krishna Das was asked like, when did you finally completely surrender to Neem Karoli Baba and Kirtan? And he said, well, I haven't. Obviously, I haven't, or I wouldn't be here doing the practice. And it was making me think as we were just talking about this, like, I was like, have I ever really done karma yoga? Have I really ever been able to have that 100% detachment to the fruits? I don't know.
I think you have, brother, to done something with just a pure heart. Come
Oh,
on. Yes, you have. Of course
okay.
you
Well,
have.
I
Of
I mean,
course you have.
all right.
Unless you're one son of a bitch. No, just
No, but I just mean like
unless I
completely.
really don't know who you.
No, but like I don't know completely because there's just like the ego is so strong, you
Yeah,
know?
but there's been moments where it just
I know.
and you've
Okay,
just
all
been
right.
like,
All right. But it's still I just what I'm saying.
check me out. Look at me.
Yeah. Uh it's It's
Ah.
like when you see somebody and they raise a whole bunch of money for some really good cause, and then they're like, they post it on Instagram, And I know that part of it is like is all the promotional machine because they want to
Yeah,
maybe raise money later.
yeah.
But still, it's always like,
But I think what you said, there's levels. It's maybe not absolute. Like Krishna Das to us, he really has surrendered.
yeah,
But to him saying, I've never fully surrendered, but
yeah,
there's sort of degrees of it. And I think, even a little degree more is a good thing.
yeah,
And I think it's so, and I was talking about this and it just came back up in my mind this morning in our sadhana. Like you said, it's like the most difficult of all the practices, but feel a little bit different, it's a gentle path. The the thing, so many paths are trying to annihilate the ego. Have you ever heard that term?
yeah, yeah, sure.
Annihilate. We got to kill the ego. But if you do that, guess what? It rears its head in some other way.
Mm,
And then another way, and then another way. Like you just can't annihilate the ego. But this soft approach of service, this gentle approach, is just putting others first, making something more important than it. Then it sort of fades in its power, the ego.
mm,
And I think if we can consistently do that, and will we be perfect? No, we're never going to be perfect. I mean, it's to the degree that we can, but even that is a little bit, it's going to, the ego's going to just have not as much power. And
mhm.
I think it's such a beautiful path. It's such an important path that Krishna, it's one of the main paths of yoga that Krishna speaks about in the
Mm.
Gita, but he speaks about from that absolute level of how to really do it,
Well,
how
right.
to
And so
really
I've
do it.
just been, getting back into the Gita again, as I do every year around this time. And so when I read that, and it says to act without attachment to the fruits, and I'm just, and when I'm really honest with myself, that there's just and I think you're right. There's degrees, and we do the best we can, and certainly I have at least my intention has been pure, and I make efforts towards serving that are pure, you know. But at the same time, I feel that little niggle, that's kind of always there, that just loves a
Niggle.
little
Never heard
appreciation.
of that word before. The niggle.
Niggle, just niggling at you. That just loves a little appreciation,
Well, do something for your lovely wife today and just wedge out that thought. You're a DOS. You've accepted it. You're a DOS, brother.
Yeah.
And today, do something. And I'm just reminding right now when I first really started using the name Govind Das, and I lost so many friends
Mm,
because of it. You know, it's so funny because from their perspective, it was the most egoic thing that I could ever do. Who
mm,
does this fucking guy think he is?
yeah.
Govind Das. Oh my God, what an egomaniac.
I think I had that thought about you too when it happened.
You did. You told me you did.
I-
How could that guy do that? Oh my God. But it's the complete opposite, right?
yeah.
Is the intention, not saying that I'm
Yeah, no, it's
Mr. Service.
the
It's just the
intention.
dedication to that.
Oh, I thought you just did it because it was good for kirtan marketing.
I don't know. I think it probably, well, who knows? You never know
Yeah.
about that.
Krishna Das,
Oh,
Ram
Krishna Das.
Das.
Oh my God, what a egoistic jerk he is. Who does he think he is? He's not allowed to do that.
Oh my God.
But boy, can that rub up against people.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe when I said difficult, it's just you know, it's a very challenging path because we are so bred, especially in the West, I think, but I think everywhere. We are totally bred to you work all week, you get paid on Friday. It's like it's such a transactional world that we live in. Oh, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. I mean, there's
Mm,
all
mm.
so many expressions that are just built into our language, even that reflect this, you know, idea that, when you do something nice for somebody, they're supposed to do something nice back, or they're supposed to notice, or you know, if you're a good person, people are supposed to treat you with respect, or if, on and on and on.
Yeah.
Or if you go to work, you're supposed to get paid. And, so I think that's why I think it's so challenging, to really honestly step into that.
Mm,
But like any practice, right? It's a process. One day
mm,
you'll be softer than the next.
mm,
You'll continue to, maybe one day, just like maybe one day, I'm hoping that one day I say a pure Ram.
mm,
Remember, Neem Karoli Baba said something like once you just do Ram 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 Ram, and then one day you're gonna hit it
mm.
just right, like just get the nail right on the head. And I don't know, we'll see. I don't know, Shaktipat, instant enlightenment. I'm not sure, but it may be in that same way. There'll be one day where I'll truly be able to be of service with zero attachment to anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for the sake of giving. I got a great idea for us both tonight or today. Let's tell our wives we're going to give them massages.
With no
No
expectation
expectation.
of
You don't have to
reward.
give me any massage back. I just want to give you a massage tonight
Mm.
because I think it would really just be wonderful
Uh,
you can relax, you can release any stress, and I just want to give you a massage.
All right.
Should we try it?
I'll try it if you'll try it. I can already see the suspicious look on my wife's face.
That's great.
Oh
Oh my
man. All
gosh.
right. Well, let's wrap it up. I think it's time.
All right, brother.
Unless there's anything else you want to throw into the
No, that's
mix.
good. We're good.
Oh man. Okay. Let's finish with some closing prayers.
Perfect.
Mm. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
May all beings, including ourselves, be happy, be well, and be free from suffering. May all of our thoughts, may all of our words, and may all of our actions in some way contribute to that happiness, that well-being, and that freedom from suffering for all, including ourselves, including ourselves, including ourselves.
Love everyone, serve everyone, feed everyone, and remember God.
Bolo Shri Satgurudev Bhagwan Ki.
Jai.
Baba Neem Karoli Santa Maharaj Ki.
Jai.
Bajrang Bali Hanuman Ki. Jai
Jai.
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman Ki.
Jai.
Jai Hanuman.
Jai Hanuman. No. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the Bhakti conversation, and we look forward to doing it with you again real soon.
Jai Hanuman. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Love you all so much. And until next time, be well. Ram Ram.
Jai Hanuman.
Jai Hanuman.